Bernard Allen is accused of stabbing 2 victims at random last Sunday at the Fiesta Mall. The reason it was so important for voters to punch a ballot like this one inside is because the candidate with the highest vote usually goes on to be supported by that state at the National Party Convention. Although the goal at Canyon State is to get the boys graduated high school, the principal and staff know that sometimes isn't possible because the drug is so toxic that if you move into one of these homes, you could be at risk. But people are putting these homes on the market without telling you the facts.
I could depend on him. If I ever needed anything, Daryl was there. He always had my back.
Willie Johnson is talking about his son, Daryl Wayne Johnson. At 22, he had just moved into a new apartment and was beginning the first phase into adulthood. Daryl was working at a local cargo company as a forklift operator. It was a typical Tuesday morning at work, but the events that happened next would change the life of Daryl and his family forever. At about 7:30 in the morning, he was maneuvering his forklift near a loading dock when he cut a corner too close, sending the forklift and Daryl over the edge.
Doctors came out and they apologized and they said, well, he's gone.
Daryl was pronounced dead on October 28, 2003. He was covered under current workers' compensation law, which states that if a company is found negligent in a case of death or injury, the company must pay $25,000 to the victim or the dependents of the deceased victim. Daryl had no dependents, so by law, the only penalty his company had to pay was a $21,000 citation to the Department of Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
In the case that did occur, the employer was literally left off the hook from paying the fine because there were no dependents in that situation.
Mr. Johnson and Senator Debbie McCune Davis worked together for over 3 years to get the language changed from dependents to estate. For Mr. Johnson, Senate Bill 1125 was created for one reason:
save a life. That's what this is all about.
Something Willie says Daryl would be very proud of.
He's probably saying, you know what, Dad, something positive came out of this.
Right now, this field doesn't look like much other than some ordinary farmland. But as early as 2009, this spot right here is going to be the home to the world's largest solar power plant. Its name is Solana, Spanish for sunny place, and Arizona is exactly that. Arizona Public Service Company announced plans to build the world's largest solar power plant with Spanish-based company Abengoa. The proposed plant will cost nearly $1 billion and will be located roughly 70 miles outside of Phoenix in Gila Bend.
This is a very large project. The capital cost alone are over $1 billion. The plant should begin construction in early 2009 and will be completed tentatively in 2011.
Unlike traditional solar power plants, Solana will generate 280 megawatts of electricity using tons of these. 2,700 parabolic mirrors will capture and focus the sun's heat onto a heat transfer fluid. Once heated, the fluid converts water into steam. The steam is then used to run conventional turbines, much like a conventional power plant, except Solana's energy output is a renewable energy source. And for the days when the sun is not shining, large thermos-like buildings containing molten salt will be located next to the steam boilers. At select times of the day, the heat transfer fluid will heat the molten salt, storing electricity.
One of the things about this project is that it's incorporating that storage technology and lets us transfer some of the energy that's generated during the daytime to the times that we need it the most, when our customers are using the most energy.
APS is not the only electrical company making these renewable adjustments. The Arizona Corporation Commission has begun requiring all electrical companies to produce a certain amount of renewable energy. When Solana is at its full capacity, it will produce 280 megawatts of electricity. That's enough to power over 70,000 homes. But there is one big drawback. Currently, companies like APS get a 30% tax credit for solar projects. But if Congress does not pass the renewable energy tax credit, then it could mean lights out for Solana. House Environment Chairman Representative Ray Barnes gave his take on Arizona's future in transitioning to noble energy projects.
When the price of electricity reflects the availability of electricity, the problems will go away. We'll use less.
For now, APS and Abengoa are taking all the steps necessary to get Solana up and running. As for your electric bill, well, you can expect about a 2-cent per kilowatt increase for renewable energy and a flat $1.50 surcharge. Spring training is in full swing throughout the Valley, giving baseball fans the opportunity to catch their favorite teams for a fraction of the price.
We're from California, and we're avid Angel fans in Anaheim, and we come to spring training every year.
And with a recent strike in our local economy, the projected income gained from Arizona hosting 12 Major League Baseball teams is nothing short of a grand slam.
All our teams that stay here, they bring their minor league players as well as their major league players. They have office staff. They spend about $2.5 million each.
According to a study done last year with the Cactus League and the Arizona Office of Tourism, spring training attracted 1.2 million fans from Canada, Mexico, and other U.S. states. In 2003, fans spent over $200 million going back into Arizona's economy, and in 2007, that number went up to $300 million, a 54% increase.
Actual stadium spending with ticket sales, concessions, novelties, parking, revenues, that generates about $5 million at each stadium. Multiply that by the 12 teams, that's another $60 million.
Spring training may not be the solution to leveling the playing field in Arizona's billion-dollar deficit, but America's favorite pastime is at least making a dent in our economy.
Right now, at this moment, you are part of history.
Arizona gained national attention February 5th as the 2008 presidential hopefuls made their way to the Wild West for Super Tuesday. The highly anticipated and historical election attracted many voters to the polls all over the country. And here in Arizona, it was no different, as figures show that over 500,000 people voted, 11,000 of them being registered independents who re-registered just in time to cast their votes.
By the end of December, I think like 6,000 independents net had changed back to either Republican or Democrat statewide. So that's a pretty good indication that independents wanted to be involved in the primary process here.
With about 400 recorded polling locations throughout Maricopa County, voter enthusiasm was apparent coming in and out of the polls, as Phoenix voter Nancy Neely expressed her hopes for voter turnout.
I hope that everybody will vote today. This is very important. It's a historic moment. I think that we're looking at here, and I think to take it serious and to be ready for change.
The reason it was so important for voters to punch a ballot like this one inside is because the candidate with the highest vote usually goes on to be supported by that state at the National Party Convention. Arizonans had many of their own reasons why they turned out to the polls, but Democratic Chairman Don Bivens gave his take on why voting goes beyond supporting the candidates.
Do you care about where you wake up tomorrow, and where your kid goes to school, and what your health care is like, and the air that you breathe, and the water that you drink? Probably do. And if you do, and you want to have a voice in all those things, the only way to do it is to vote.
With a positive turnout, it's safe to say the primaries were a success in Arizona for both parties. The next time Arizonans will take part in a national election will be in November, when they help decide who will be the president of the United States. For Arizona Capitol Television, I'm Christina Sawicki.